This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. Attorney General Edwin Meese is resigning. No successor yet named. A special prosecutor investigating various accusations against Meese today handed over his report. Its contents have not been made public. CBS News law correspondent Rita Braver has been covering the Meese case.
All right.
The most controversial Attorney General in recent years announced today that he is calling it quits.
I have informed the President that I will be leaving the administration towards the end of July or early in August in order to accept new opportunities in the private sector.
The announcement came just hours after the independent counsel report on Meese, 13 and a half months in the making, was filed under seal in federal court in Washington this morning. Meese has not yet seen the report, but sources familiar with it say it paints a negative picture of the Attorney General. However, independent counsel James McKay did not call for indictment of Meese, and the Attorney General seized that opportunity to declare himself vindicated.
Now that the independent counsel has finished his task, and one of the most exhaustive, thorough, and costly investigations of any public official has been completed, the false allegations have been put to rest.
But in fact, it's only the question of criminal violations that the report dismisses. Sources say it puts a harsh spotlight on Meese's relationship with his longtime friend, San Francisco attorney E. Bob Wallach. Wallach sought Meese's help with procuring a contract for the WedTech defense manufacturer and with lining up administration support for a proposed Iraqi oil pipeline. And sources say the report refers some questions of non-criminal ethics violations by Meese to the Justice Department's own Office of Professional Responsibility for possible disciplinary action. Independent counsel James McKay refused to speculate on Meese's resignation.
Well, after the report's made public, I can probably make some statements, but not until then.
Friends said that Meese had indicated he would leave the administration if he believed he would be a liability to the president. Today, one of Meese's most vocal critics said it was about time for the resignation.
So it's best for the country, it's best for the system of justice, it's best for the Department of Justice that Ed Meese did what he did today. It's long overdue. We should have done it long ago.
True to his usual penchant for secrecy, Meese kept this decision from all but a few associates at the Justice Department until today. Just a few minutes ago, one member of that inner circle expressed relief that it's now over, saying Meese has been through an ordeal and his family has. It's time to move on. Dan?
Rita, what do your sources tell you about a possible successor?
Well, as you pointed out at the beginning of the broadcast, the great mentioner has not really started to float names yet. However, Meese himself is said to have a few candidates, and whoever it is has got to be somebody who Congress will quickly approve.
Thanks, Rita. More now on the Meese resignation and its political impact from our White House correspondent, Bill Plant.
President Reagan got the word this afternoon from his old friend and political ally Ed Meese in a surprise phone call just before Mr. Reagan departed for a visit with El Salvador's President Duarte at Walter Reed Hospital. On his way back, the president praised Meese and said he would miss him, but wouldn't speculate on the effect of the resignation.
Will Meese's resignation help George Bush? I don't know.
Mr. Reagan's new chief of staff denied that Meese had been a political liability to the administration or to George Bush.
Did the president try to talk him out of it?
The president accepted Ed's determination.
So he did not try to talk him out of it.
But a staunch conservative supporter of the Attorney General predicted fireworks.
But I suspect that there will be some who will try to make political hay off of his tenure at the Justice Department.
No, I don't think this resignation solves anything, because we've had one scandal after another, one resignation after another. We now have a breaking scandal in the Pentagon, which may dwarf any of the others we've had over the past 8 years. So this resignation by itself doesn't solve anything.
While he has been obsessed with and absorbed in going back and forth to court with personal vindication for himself, justice has gone lacking for many people in our country.
The Attorney General had been under a lot of pressure to quit from Republicans who felt that if he didn't, George Bush would be extremely vulnerable to the so-called sleaze factor charges. But insiders today insisted that there was no deal. One senior official said that today's call from Meese to the president came out of the blue. Though Mr. Reagan did say to his staff a few months ago that Meese had said that he might leave before the end of the administration. But it's at Bush headquarters, not at the White House, where they're likely to be breaking out the champagne tonight, Dan.
Bill Plant. In the aftermath of the U.S. Navy's downing of an Iranian airliner, these developments today. The White House revealed it had sent a diplomatic message via the Swiss embassy in Tehran, assuring Iran that the attack was a mistake and expressing deep regret. House Speaker Jim Wright urged President Reagan to offer compensation to families of the 290 victims. The president indicated that idea is under consideration. In Beirut, a deadline passed with no action on a threat to kill an American hostage. At the Pentagon and in the Gulf, U.S. military officials were still struggling for a clear picture of exactly what happened Sunday. David Martin reports.
Aboard the Vincennes today, a team of investigators headed by Rear Admiral William Fogarty arrived to begin its inquiry into the so far inexplicable sequence of events which led to the downing of an Iranian airliner.
The Pentagon today provided new information about the incident, but that information only deepened the mystery surrounding Iran Air Flight 655.
According to the Pentagon, the Iran Air plane was sending out two different sets of electronic signals to identify itself. One used by both commercial and military aircraft, the second used only by military aircraft. Why a commercial airliner would identify itself as a military plane is not known, but the Pentagon says it could not have been by mistake.
It is a special piece of equipment which has to be put on the aircraft, and it can only be set on the ground.
In the past, Iranian F-14s have used that same signal to identify themselves, which is what led the Vincennes to believe the contact on its radar screen was a warplane. However, another U.S. Navy ship in the area, the USS Sides, did not pick up that signal. And today in London, an Iranian pilot insisted Iran Air does not use military signals.
The transponder that we are using is the standard transponder, and we are using Mod A, which is civilian.
The radar on the USS Sides also showed the Iranian aircraft to be at an altitude of 12,600 feet. Higher and therefore less threatening than the 7,800-foot altitude shown by the radar on the Vincennes. For the moment, at least, the Pentagon is unable to explain the discrepancy.
I'm saying that we have some inexplicable evidence at this point.
The Vincennes carries the most sophisticated equipment. If its data is accurate, the plane was outside the normal air corridor and heading straight for the ship, traveling at 450 knots, losing altitude, and not responding to repeated warnings.
If that 450-knot figure is correct, it's an extraordinarily odd situation, and any commander would have the reason to conclude that this was not a civilian airliner.
One Republican senator raised the possibility that the Vincennes did not make a horrible mistake.
I think it's a legitimate assumption that the captain of our naval ships in that area could assume that a kamikaze attack is not beyond the realm of possibility.
Some of the conflicting data could be explained by the weather in the Persian Gulf, which is notorious for playing tricks on electronics. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
Iran said it will hold a mass funeral for the victims tomorrow in Bandar Abbas, where the flight originated. Correspondent Alan Pizzi has more from the Gulf.
The U.S. Navy was back at work in the Gulf today after lying low yesterday. The frigate Sides was escorting a work barge into the Gulf, part of its job of keeping the sea lanes safe from revenge attacks. The crew of the destroyer John Hancock had a belated 4th of July message. "Happy birthday, America," it read. "We love you." Under the American rules of engagement, the destroyer can aid any vessel that asks for help during an attack. It was Navy helicopters engaging Iranian speedboats that led to the missile being launched against Iran Air Flight 655. All the American Navy sailors had to do today was try to keep cool, keep fit, and keep alert. Not easy tasks in the Gulf heat. The Pentagon scenario of the missile attacks is also taking heat from air traffic controllers in the Gulf. They accuse the U.S. Navy of ignoring control tower communications that could help separate friend from foe. Today, U.S. warships started listening.
American warship, this is Dubai ground station. You have a helicopter operating to the east.
Controllers also accuse the Americans of dangerous interference in Gulf skies. The cruiser Vincennes last month ordered a 747 jumbo jet to make a turn that they say would have resulted in a mid-air collision. Furious civilian controllers stopped it and told the U.S. Navy they could have killed people. Air controllers said the tragedy was a mistake by both sides. The Iranian flight should never have been sent into harm's way, and its fate may have been sealed by what one controller called American incompetence. Dan?
As seen and heard from the perspective there, what is the principal unanswered question?
I think the unanswered question is why. People here don't understand why the Americans made the mistake. How can you mistake something as big as an Airbus for something as small as an F-14. And people in this part of the world think that the American military is so sophisticated that they couldn't possibly have made that kind of a mistake. And that's the unanswered question, why?
And Alan, as best you can determine, recognizing that this is always a difficult kind of question to answer, where does this story go from here?
I think the story from here is going to be wait and see. The Iranians are waiting to find a way to show the press whatever's left of the bodies, the wreckage, and so on. They're ready to stage demonstrations. They're just looking for a way to get us in to do it. But where the story goes, I think we sit and we wait for some kind of retaliation.
Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, Tom Fenton on the latest threat against the American hostages in Lebanon, and Eric Engberg on the mounting pressure aboard the Vincennes during the last 4 minutes of Flight 655.
If they could see you now out on a fun ship cruise, you're eating fancy food and doing what you choose. I'd like your friends back home to get a good look at the first-rate Carnival cruise that you took. All I can say is, wow, hey, look at where you are. What a fun ship, holy cow. They'd never believe it if your friends could see you now.
Take a 3, 4, or 7-day cruise on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
It's Lobster Fest time at Red Lobster. We know what you love the most. At our Lobster Fest, we do lobster best. No one else even comes close.
From $8.95, kids just 99 cents.
Have a tempting lobster trio, mornay if you're in the mood. La, la, la. Our tails are the best at our Lobster Fest. We know how you love seafood.
Now get a half pound of snow crab legs for just $3.95 with any entree.
Into the land of heartburn comes the first liquid antacid without that liquid antacid taste. A really good tasting liquid that puts out heartburn's fire. New Tums Liquid. It works. It really tastes good.
Raisin Nut Bran tastes better. Tastes better than Kellogg's, better than Post. It's got juicy nut-covered raisins and big, crisp flakes.
People have a better time around Raisin Nut Bran.
The best tasting Raisin Bran.
Once again today, Iranian leaders sent out mixed messages on how they may respond to the downing of that Iranian airliner by the U.S. Navy. President Ali Khamenei warned that Iran has the right to avenge the blood of the victims, as he put it, but military chief Rafsanjani warned against over-hasty revenge. He said that would only take the propaganda pressure off America and transfer it somewhere else. In Beirut, an anonymous phone caller threatened to kill an American hostage, but there was no way to know whether that threat was real. Correspondent Tom Fenton has the story from London.
The caller said, "We will kill an American captive today and dump his body in this neighborhood of West Beirut." He said he was speaking for Islamic Jihad, the pro-Iranian group believed to be holding American hostages Terry Anderson and Thomas Sutherland. No body was found, but Middle East experts say the threat from these shadowy groups should not be discounted.
They act independently, they have their own views of the situation, and they're capable of demonstrating what they would regard to be a popular response.
About 2,000 pro-Iranian militants took to the streets today in Beirut, demanding revenge for the U.S. shoot-down of the Iran airjet. The demonstrators marched to the site of the former U.S. embassy that was destroyed in 1983 by a Hezbollah suicide attack. They chanted, "Tell America, from Lebanon to the Gulf, Hezbollah is coming to avenge." There was also chanting on Iranian TV tonight, and the familiar cries of "Death to America," more pictures of bodies, and for the first time, pictures of what's left of the Iranian Airbus. The Gulf incident could not have come at a worse time for moderate forces within Iran. Tonight, Iran's number 2 man, Hashemi Rafsanjani, was calling for a careful response, looking for a non-violent way out of this crisis.
This could be a setback if the other side doesn't respond. If there is no olive branch being waved from Washington at all.
What the moderates want from Washington is a reduced U.S. military role in the Gulf, a new United Nations peace resolution branding Iraq as the aggressor in the Gulf War, compensation for the victims' families, and a full formal apology. Tom Fenton, CBS News, London.
A Lebanese Shiite Muslim went on trial today in West Germany, charged with air piracy and murder for the hijacking of a TWA plane in 1985. Mohammed Ali Hamadi refused to answer questions or take any part in the proceedings, held in a bulletproof chamber inside a prison. For the first time, he was face to face with the parents of the man he's accused of murdering, U.S. Navy diver Robert Steedham.
What is electricity? What would we do without it?
It would be terrible. Then nothing was able to work. The whole world would be like blank. To get ice cream, what lots of kids like, you need a freezer. And to make a freezer work, you need electricity.
Electricity. There's no substitute.
We couldn't listen to any music unless someone sang it.
We won $10 million
from Publishers
Clearinghouse. Publishers Clearinghouse made me a millionaire.
Once again, we're speeding up the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes to make it the fastest way for you to get super rich. You could win $10 million. But that's not all. You could win $1 million just for entering fast. Watch for the winning $1 million number on TV this August 11th. And remember the house, because only Publishers Clearinghouse can make you so rich, so fast. So enter.
My wife, every night she disappears into the bathroom. Who knows what's going on? But whatever it is, it makes her feel really good. See?
Clean away stains and freshen dentures with Efferdent every night.
When you have heartburn, you can bet on effective cherry-flavored Rolaids antacid. Calcium-rich, sodium-free, and a winning cherry taste. Cherry-flavored Rolaids. Tastes like cherry, works like Rolaids.
The ruling party in Mexico has rarely lost an election at any level and has never lost one for president. The presidential vote tomorrow will be no exception. But the building opposition is gearing up for perhaps its best finish ever. David Dow is in Mexico City.
It looks like the same old script for another big victory by Mexico's ruling party, the PRI. Plenty of show, plenty of folks, and plenty of buses to get them there, even when some would rather be elsewhere. They told us they wouldn't renew our contract if we didn't come, says a government worker. In his rhetoric, at least, Carlos Salinas de Gortari, the party's hand-picked candidate and almost certain winner, says it's time for change. His old Harvard professor thinks he means it.
He wants to reform the ruling party of Mexico that's won every election for 60 years. That's no small undertaking, because it's a party that's been encrusted with a lot of myths and traditions.
But many are tired of waiting. 6 years of economic crisis have been the final straw. Suddenly, the PRI is not the only crowd in town. This one of more than 200,000 was for Cuauhtemoc Cárdenas, the son of a popular former president who broke away from the PRI to form his own left-center coalition. This crowd came to cheer Manuel Clothier, candidate of the growing Conservative Party.
The anti-democratic practices of the past, the unanimity, the forced unanimity of the past is finished. I think Mexico is now going to be unavoidably more democratic.
As the opposition crowds have grown, so too is the cry for something Mexicans often have not had, an election free from tampering by the ruling party.
Limpio y transparente.
Mexico's outgoing president, De La Madrid, has promised clean, transparent elections. Skepticism remains.
Do you believe them? No. The people don't believe him either.
And in the midst of this, murder and a funeral today for a top Cárdenas campaign aide. Cárdenas blames the killing on unnamed reactionary elements. Some polls indicate Mexican voters will give Salinas the narrowest victory in his party's history. A mandate, as many see it, for Glasnost, south of the border. David Dow, CBS News, Mexico City.
In the 4th of July fireworks display at Duluth, Minnesota last night, the rocket's red glare barely burst in air. Officials said faulty wiring ignited an explosion that consumed 20 minutes worth of fireworks in 2 minutes. One observer reported, within seconds you could see a fireball that shot 50 feet into the air. It looked like fireworks in the sky, but they were on the ground. A new development in a case of alleged racial harassment in the FBI, originally reported by CBS News correspondent Robert Shackney. Documents filed in federal court now show that a white agent admitted that he and fellow white agents discussed a campaign of what they called retribution against black agent Donald Rochon. In a historic first step, the Senate of the Church of England voted today in favor of women becoming priests. The vote was against the wishes of Archbishop Robert Runcie, who says he fears a serious split in the church. The measure could become Anglican law within 4 years.
How fast does Anbesol relieve toothache pain? Before you can say.
Anbesol.
The pain from braces? Before you can say.
Anbesol.
Anbesol stops minor mouth pain on contact. Anbesol, a new maximum strength Anbesol.
Pass the strawberries.
Why?
To put on my cereal.
You can't do that.
Why not?
Because it's just right.
So?
So they worked hard to make it just right. All these crunchy flakes and tasty fruits and nuts and 100% nutrition.
Uh-huh.
Then if you add strawberries, it won't be just right anymore.
Oh, what will it be?
One never knows.
I know. It'll be just fine.
Kellogg's Just Right. For the perfect blend of 100% nutrition and great taste, no other cereal is just right.
With low back pain, walking can be agony, where every step shoots pain. Up here, you know what helps? New Back Guard.
Clinically proven Back Guard is a shoe insert for low back pain aggravated by foot shock. Back Guard with its shock trapper module relieves this low back pain. Watch how it helps absorb shock upon impact to reduce the shock to your back.
Amazing. Something down here can help up here.
New Back Guard from Dr. Scholl's. Absorb shock all day to help keep back pain away.
Captain, this itchy rash is driving me crazy.
Why didn't you use the Cord-Aid?
Cord-Aid goes beneath the skin to actually heal itches and rashes.
You know, itches and rashes won't last if you use Cord-Aid first.
The downing of Iran Air Flight 655 is a classic tragedy in the theater of combat, a catastrophe caused by human limitations, perhaps equipment failure, in the heat and fog of battle. The story is still incomplete, but CBS News correspondent Eric Ingberg has prepared a chronicle of what we do know about those few minutes, and there were only a few decisive minutes, leading up to the missile attack on the plane.
General quarters, all hands man your battle stations.
The Vincennes was ready for a fight. Her crew still at general quarters, full alert. Her 5-inch guns still hot from a surface battle with 2 Iranian gunboats. At 10:47 a.m., a new blip on the radar, another potential threat the captain must assess.
Immediately he must have been thinking, is this a hostile aircraft? How could he attack me? How can I defend my ship against this contact?
His first thought is, they're putting it together. I've got some sort of a joint operation here that perhaps is coordinated. So I believe his first thought was, this is a hostile threat that's developing.
The Vincennes Combat Information Center is filled with the most sophisticated electronic equipment in the Navy. But the burden is on men who must interpret often conflicting data.
I've never seen people smoke the way they do in a combat information center. Some people with 2 cigarettes burning in an ashtray and lighting a 3rd one.
The plane keeps heading directly for the ship. The electronics experts telling the captain it could be an F-14 fighter. He likely was haunted by the memory of another ship which had faced a similar threat.
The Stark lost 37 members of the crew because it had not taken timely action to defend itself. That had to be a heavy weight on his mind.
10:49. The Vincennes sends the first of what the Pentagon now says were 12 radio warnings to the aircraft, and no response.
Even if there had been a response, the captain would still be wondering, is this some kind of a ruse? Could this be a kamikaze?
The flickering green screens in the combat center tell the captain the aircraft is 5 miles outside the proper zone for commercial planes and coming at it. He is uncertain enough that he asks for a check of commercial airline schedules. He sees nothing.
It's a continuous exchange of information. People are calling out material to him, he's reading displays, and he's asking for more information.
You do the most difficult part of the task of identifying. You do that with people. And the people do look at the radar signal.
The radar will only detect and track. It will not identify the contact. So they had to rely on their training, and all along they knew that this was serious, this was the real thing, this could be combat.
The captain, whose missiles lose effectiveness when the target is too close, is forced to decide. The aircraft is declared hostile.
If he let the aircraft come too close, he would not be able to engage with his primary armament, that is his missiles. So he only had a couple of minutes to make up his mind.
A thick haze across the Hormuz Strait prevents lookouts from seeing the plane, which is still not answering radio calls.
There would be studied, careful, and cautious professionalism, but also this sense of exhilaration and the sense of panic that this was the real thing.
A lot of adrenaline.
A lot of adrenaline and tremendous pressure to respond very quickly. Don't forget that airplane was closing the ship at 7 or 8 miles a minute. That's not a lot of time to do a lot of thinking.
10:53. New information is flashed to the captain. The plane is now losing altitude. It's decision time.
If I had this ambiguous picture of an approaching aircraft that might be an F-14, and then I was told it was descending toward my ship, that would probably be the final piece of information that would throw me onto the side. He is hostile, fire.
Captain Rogers orders 2 standard missiles like these fired at the target. The crew never sees the plane until it blows up 6 miles away. The captain had made a rush to judgment impelled by the harsh realities of modern war at sea. He had 4 minutes from the determination that the plane was hostile to weigh conflicting evidence and make the fateful decision to fire his missiles. 4 minutes. That is about the length of time it has taken to tell this story. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
And that's tonight's CBS Evening News. Dan Rather. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Honey, great news. I don't need surgery for my hemorrhoids. The doctor said they're not that serious.
Well, what did he say?
He told me to eat right, get some exercise, and when they act up, use Preparation H.
Thousands of doctors distribute this hemorrhoidal care guide from the makers of Preparation H. It advises a fiber-rich diet, exercise, and for flare-ups, try Preparation H to help shrink swelling of hemorrhoidal tissue and often provide temporary relief of pain and itch.
Aren't you glad you didn't need surgery?
Doctor recommended Preparation H.
Dan Miller waited a long time to see this. He almost missed it. Not long ago, Dan had a heart attack.
Strength and perseverance.
Since then, his doctor prescribed a regimen of exercise, the right foods, and a Bayer aspirin a day. Studies show aspirin can help prevent a second heart attack.
He was always there when I needed him.
Ask your doctor how Bayer may help you.
I love you, Dad.
Bayer, the wonder drug that works wonders.
Cross this country for ice cream fun. America's favorite is 31.
America's going bananas at Baskin-Robbins over luscious banana splits and banana royales made with your favorite flavors and tasty toppings, so go bananas now.
My wife, every night she disappears into the bathroom. Who knows what's going on? But whatever it is, it makes her feel really good. See?
Clean away stains and freshen dentures with Efferdent every night.
I'm Harry Smith.
And I'm Kathleen Sullivan. Tomorrow, the latest news from the Persian Gulf.
Also, this fall's hottest fashion designer tomorrow on CBS This Morning.
This